Hello, welcome. You are watching another episode of SAUJANYA. Today is 23rd January. The solemn occasion is known to everyone, the Netaji Chandra Bose's birthday. So today we have come to Professor Nandulal Chakraborty. He is a renowned professor of political science from Presidency College and University. And apart from that, he is very renowned Netaji researcher. He went to Russia and many other countries with Mukherjee Commission to research about the mystery. So today we would like to know from Professor Chakraborty about Netaji's possible stay in Soviet Russia after the so-called plane crash theory, the concocted story of Taihuku plane crash. It is believed that Netaji went to Soviet Russia for a considerable period of time. He was there. So whether he was there, how he was there, whether he was a prisoner or in political asylum or whatever, I think Professor Chakraborty is a very articulate man and he has deep interest and knowledge. He has dedicated his whole life for this purpose. I'm sure he will be able to enlighten us with his articulation. So, Professor Chakraborty, you are welcome to our channel. Please tell us something about Netaji's possible stay in Soviet Russia.
Thank you, Amran. Very good evening to all. Today I am supposed to talk about Netaji's Russian connection. Well, the Russian connection figures in a big way in the entire history of Netaji's disappearance. How did it appear and how did it figure in the disappearance mystery? Primarily, people focus on his existence in Russia beyond 1945. That is absolutely true, but at the same time, in order to understand his Russian connection, we will have to go before 1945. How did he visit during and after Soviet Russia for establishing connection with the Russian authorities? He wanted to seek help from Russian authorities for liberation of India. These things will have to be understood clearly. And I will of course focus on certain documents which are already in the public domain. But in addition to that, I will disclose certain things which have not been brought into the public domain yet. First, as early as spring of 1941, Netaji, according to a German military intelligence report, visited Soviet Russia. In other words, what I want to tell you is this: before visiting Germany, he went to Soviet Russia. He was treated well there, and I'm quoting the way he was treated there. The German military intelligence report reveals that he went to Russia before visiting Germany for assistance. In Moscow, no official cognizance had been taken of his presence, but the Russians had done everything they could to make his stay there a pleasant one. This is a German military intelligence report. The translated copy of this is quoted in famous author N.G. Ganpule's book Netaji in Germany. Anyone can find out the report in that particular book. The book is available. Now, this means that he was absolutely in favor of taking help from Soviet Russia. This does not mean that he wanted to imitate the Russian experiment in India in the post-independence period. He categorically mentioned on many occasions that he wanted to develop socialism on the conditions prevailing, on the basis of what was happening and on the basis of Indian traditions and culture. So his socialism was quite different from the Bolshevik experiments in Soviet Russia. But at the same time, we cannot deny the fact that he was in touch with Soviet Russia since 1941. This was the beginning. Now, we all know that he went to Germany to seek assistance for the liberation of his country. What happened there? He went there and on 22nd June 1941, already I have said that in the spring of 1941 he had already visited Russia. Now on 22nd June 1941, Germany had invaded Russia. Hitler's Germany invaded Russia. What was his reaction? In a meeting, Subhash Chandra Bose told the German Undersecretary of State, Warman, that in the war between Germany and Russia, Indians would be on the Russian side, and he unhesitatingly and in clear terms pointed out that he was condemning German invasion of Russia as an act of imperialist aggression. This was Subhash Chandra Bose. Just imagine, the man was alone there. No one was there to help him out. Hitler's thugs would have killed him at any point of time. He was absolutely undaunted. He told the German Undersecretary of State that in the case of a conflict between Russia and Germany, he would be on the Russian side. This is absolutely recorded. Where was it recorded? I'm telling you, many people may think that I am perhaps quoting it from certain books or this is a figment of my imagination. No, my friends, this is collected from Documents on German Foreign Policy, Series D, 1918 to 1945. This was quoted in Romain Heys's book, Netaji in Nazi Germany, page 57. So nothing is a figment of imagination. All these are quite clearly recorded in documents on German foreign policy. The documents on German foreign policy is a famous document, and D series clearly focuses on the period I'm talking about. And this meeting between Netaji and Undersecretary of State Warman took place on 17 July. So, after German invasion on 17 July 1941, Netaji said this. So his leanings towards Soviet Russia is clearly indicated by these two facts. First, his visit to Russia before he had reached Germany, and then his clear statement on German invasion of Soviet Russia. Next, we will refer to another file and another document. Rather, I will refer to a document contained in a recently declassified file, file number 249 INA. It says, Lieutenant Sadhu Singh of INA informed that in December 1944, Netaji left for Soviet Russia. This also indicates that Netaji was constantly in touch with the Soviet authority. We will now come straight to the point of Netaji's existence. In March 1946, another secret file, now declassified, file number 273 INA, says that Muradov, the Vice Consul General, the Russian Vice Consul General, disclosed that Netaji was in Soviet Russia. In July 1946, Khurshid Netaji, on 27 July 1946, wrote an interesting letter to Louis Fisher, a biographer of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. There she said, and who was Khurshid Netaji? Khurshid Netaji was the granddaughter of Dadabhai Netaji, the grand old man of Indian National Congress. She said in that letter, if Bose comes with Russian help, neither Gandhiji nor Congress will be able to reason with the country. This means that in 1946, no less a personality than Khurshid Netaji was aware of Netaji's existence in Soviet Russia. And it all the more points to the fact that the 45 so-called crash affair was absolutely a trash affair. In addition to this, I am going to disclose certain things which has not been brought to light by many scholars, but it has to be brought to light. It happened in November 1947. I am going to talk about Nehru Liaquat meeting in the Joint Defence Committee meeting at Delhi. What Nehru told in Joint Defence Committee meeting at Delhi, I am going to refer to that. This is highly interesting. I am quoting Nehru's statement. Nehru told Liaquat Ali Khan, actually at that point of time, a controversy took place about Kashmir's accession to India. Nehru told Liaquat Ali Khan in the Joint Defence Council meeting, please mark my words and listen to my words very carefully. I am quoting it verbatim. If the dominion of India had not gone to the assistance of Kashmir when called upon, he had no doubt whatever that the present government of India would have been overthrown and that it would have been replaced by an irresponsible extremist government which would probably have declared war upon Pakistan. The key word and key sentence in the entire statement is that so-called extremist government would have declared war upon Pakistan. If Kashmir had been attacked by Pakistan-backed army or Pakistan-backed forces, then why did he tell Liaquat Ali Khan that those forces, after capturing Kashmir, would attack Pakistan, and government of India obviously at that point of time when the accession took place did not mean government of Kashmir. This is also indicative of the fact that Nehru knew that Netaji was in Russia. He was absolutely certain about that. We usually talk about his letter to Attlee, which he dictated to Shamlal Jain. But this has been subjected to many controversy. It came up for discussion in the Khosla Commission. But my point is this: whether he dictated that or not, nobody has yet challenged Shamlal Jain's deposition. But this is a statement which is highly shocking. Why did he tell Liaquat Ali Khan that the Pakistan forces, after capturing Kashmir, would have attacked Pakistan? This is because, according to file number 273, we know that Netaji circulated a story that he would come to India via Chitrol. In other words, Nehru was mortally scared that if Netaji would come to India via Chitrol, then his position in India will be completely destroyed. He will be overthrown by the people of India. So Kashmir will have to be captured, protected, or something like that. Kashmir had to be freed from the Pakistan army. That is absolutely true. But Nehru's reaction indicates that he was aware of Netaji's existence in Russia. 273 INA file says that the letter Netaji wrote to Nehru was from Moscow. Netaji was supposed to have written a letter to Nehru that he would come to India via Chitrol. We do not know whether Nehru had really received that letter or not. But from this reaction, we can safely say that Nehru came to know about his existence in Russia. Now, I will talk about some other stories, rather some fake news or fake stories. Number one, this is related to the story of Netaji's alleged death in Russia. This is absolutely false and fake. First, it was claimed in an affidavit of 2003 that, I'm quoting, Komarov, senior research professor, Institute of Oriental Studies, said that, let us take it this way, Netaji was here and died here. Pursuant to this affidavit, Mukherjee Commission visited Russian Federation and examined Komarov. We went to Russian Federation with Netaji Commission. I personally was present when Komarov was examined. Komarov categorically and emphatically denied having ever made any such statement. Another thing, in order to authenticate these stories of alleged death of Netaji in Russia, many other witnesses were brought to Mukherjee Commission's hearing. They were examined. All of them denied having any knowledge of Netaji's alleged death in Soviet Russia. I was present there. And they also stated that they never made any such statement. Now, lastly, I would like to tell you that stories are also doing the rounds, and please, friends, do not be deceived and cheated by these stories. Believe me, he was in Russia. On the basis of archival documents, hard copies of archival documents are available from National Library and National Archives. Anyone can have access to that now that they are declassified. But please do not rely on fake stories and rumors. The story has been doing the round that Netaji went to Omsk in Siberia, and provisional government of Azadi had an embassy in Omsk. There he was received by his people. This is supposed to have been founded upon an interrogation report. What is that interrogation report? I am quoting that interrogation. It is an interrogation report of one Hatia. Who was Hatia? Hatia was an envoy to provisional government of Azadi. Japanese government sent him to provisional government of Azadi without credentials. Netaji said that we will not accept anybody without credentials. When Azadian government's officials asked him about the credentials, he said that Japan did not have the habit of providing its envoys with credentials when they were sent to provisional government. Interrogation report of Hatia Teruo, Japanese envoy, informed that an ambassador by the name of Katokochu was sent without credentials to the provisional government of Omsk in Siberia. Just note, when the story was circulated that Netaji was received in Omsk by his people, this name appeared in a big way. Repeatedly, this name was circulated that one Katokochu received Netaji in Omsk of Siberia. But you clearly can realize that here Hatia's report mentions provisional government of Omsk. Provisional government of Omsk and provisional government of Azadi in Omsk. These two are not same. Actually, there was a provisional government of Omsk in Siberia. It was distorted and shown to people as provisional government of Azadi in Omsk. Very few people can have access to this archival document and this intelligence report. We were fortunate as deponents to get these copies from Mukherjee Commission's office. I still have that copy. Now, this is not the end of the story. In order to give credence to this fantastic story of Netaji being received by one Katokochu, a provisional government of Azad in that Omsk, Alexander Kalashnikov, a Warsaw Pact general. In fact, his designation was former Assistant Chief of Staff of the Joint Armed Forces of the Warsaw Pact countries. His statement is shown to authenticate the story. What did he say? He says that by accessing some KGB files, he arrived at the conclusion that this was actually what happened. Did he mention any file number? No. Did he appear before Mukherjee Commission in Moscow? No. How do we know that this man, whatever might have been his position, was speaking the truth? Yes, the poor Shakespeare. So, friends, I have already told you that Netaji visited Russia before 1955. Netaji was in Russia after 1955. But Netaji never died in Russia. He was in Russia and he came back to India. Thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you.
Sir, you have said one thing very emphatically with a lot of emotion and all, that trust me, my friends, he was in Russia. If you really believe that, then my question is, did you ever try to convince Mr. Mukherjee during those days? Because you visited all the places with Justice Mukherjee, and it is believed that you were very close to Justice Mukherjee, was loved by Justice Mukherjee a lot. So, as being a very articulate man, so did you ever try to make him believe? Because he always used to say that there's a missing link, and that was troubling him to prove that Netaji did not die in that plane crash and all. Later on, he got these documents from that Taiwan government and all from London. That is another thing. But he tried very hard to prove that he was in Russia, but he could not. That's why he personally said to me that there is a missing link. Even during that time, we were very convinced that Netaji was in Russia. So, did you ever try to convince Justice Mukherjee?
Yes, Abla. We tried to convince him, and as far as I can remember, at the initial stages, he was fully convinced that he went to Russia. That's why he got some people, he got some papers translated by some language experts who knew Russian particularly well, to come to a conclusion about what happened in Russia, etc. He didn't find anything there because those documents were submitted by the author of affidavit of 2003. Later, he went to Russia just under the impression that he would find something related to his existence out there. He went there, examined some witnesses, and when the witnesses categorically told him that he didn't die here, and some of them categorically denied having any knowledge of his arrival at any place of Russia, he was furious. He thought he was being deceived, but he never said that he was being deceived by us. And then he did not take into account the archival documents which clearly indicated his existence in Russia. He said that he could not only depend on those archival documents. Someone will have to be there to authenticate those documents. The people who wrote those documents, the authors of those documents, especially when we refer to Hussein Nauroji's Later he said, we cannot examine Louis Fisher or technology, so we cannot reach any conclusion on the basis of that. I know Mukherjee just talked about these things in order to discard it because he was furious with the way he was deceived. But in the heart of hearts, he believed that he went to Russia and he came back from Russia to India.
Sir, many scholars and very renowned political figures. I have no hesitation to take names like Dr. Kurobi Roy, like Dr. Subramanian Swamy, like the great General G.D. Bakshi. They are always referring to one particular book, and they are trying to establish the national forum that Netaji was there, but unfortunately he died. He was killed. He was killed in Soviet Russia. And on the basis of that book, they are trying to convince people. But on the other hand, as you have mentioned, Justice Mukherjee, as you know, I was the only fortunate man to interview Justice Mukherjee after submitting the report. Okay. He very emphatically said, with a point back, that I have been deceived by many people, those who claim that they have direct evidence and all. So, what's the solution?
The solution is a thorough
How much is too much? That's my
thorough and in-depth research on the way I have also written in my articles in the Statesman. Thorough research, in-depth research on the way he escaped from Russia to India and the way he started living the life of a saint behind the curtain in different parts of Uttar Pradesh. That is absolutely necessary. The way he escaped Russia, where they left Russia, because I don't know whether you remember, at one point of time when General G.D. Bakshi came to your program, I talked to him over phone. I said, sir, do you have a single document which clearly says that he was killed or he perishes in any other way in any part of Soviet Russia? The general always speaks the truth. He never shied away from the truth. He says, Professor Chakraborty, I must confess that this is absolutely a speculative analysis. And I am requesting you, and through you, all my friends, do not rely on speculative analysis. This is the danger of game. On this supremely important issue of national level of importance, do not rely on any speculative analysis. Rely on hard facts and documents.